Let's go Lions, family. I don't know about you, but I'm already counting down the days until the season kicks off. There are still a few weeks to go, but my blue and silver heart is already pounding with excitement. This team is hungry, organized, and ready to write another chapter of glory in our history. And today I need to talk about some hot topics coming straight out of the Detroit Lions locker room. And trust me, big things are about to happen. But before I bring you every detail of this exclusive update, do me a favor. Hit that like button right now. But hey, only do it if you're Lions to the core, if you've carried this passion for years. It's incredible to see our fan base across all generations. From those who stood strong in the toughest times to the new fans joining us in this new era. Maximum respect to all of you. And if you want, drop a comment right here. One pride. We're coming back stronger than ever. Now, let's get into this news. The schedule is set, predictions are in, and every game on the Detroit Lions calendar looks like a battle that could define the season. Think about this for a moment. A team that has clawed its way out of irrelevance now stares down a year, where every Sunday feels like a proving ground. What if I told you that, game by game, the Lions are lining themselves up not just for playoff contention, but for something bigger? That's exactly what we're diving into, because the detailed win-loss breakdown has painted a path that's as thrilling as it is nerve-wracking. Stick with me, because every twist in this schedule reveals another layer of how the season could play out. The year kicks off on the road against the Green Bay Packers, and everyone seems obsessed with Green Bay's splashy move to acquire Micah Parsons. The narrative is already tilted toward the Packers, but here's the thing. This is not the same old Lions. The belief is that Detroit comes out swinging and walks out of Lambeau with a 27-24 victory. Why? Because this defense is dialed in, and the confidence is sky high. And how about that for a statement? Beating your rival in their house to open the year? It's the kind of win that echoes. Next up, a chance to defend home turf against the Chicago Bears. It's early in the year, which means Chicago is still figuring things out under Ben Johnson's system. New schemes, new rhythm. It's too much to ask this soon. The Lions are expected to take this one too, pushing the record to 2-0 and, more importantly, starting off with 2 division wins. You can almost feel Ford Field rocking already, can't you? But not everything is smooth sailing. Week 3 brings Baltimore, a team that still packs a punch with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry.
That mobile quarterback/running back combo has spelled trouble before, and while the Lions will keep it closer this time than the last blowout loss, the prediction here is an L. A necessary reminder that in this league, no win comes easy. Back home against the Cleveland Browns in Week 4, Detroit has the edge. Cleveland's in transition, juggling questions at quarterback and dealing with a rebuild. Whether it's Joe Flacco or someone else under center, the Lions should be too much to handle. Chalk that up as a 3-1 start. Then comes a real test in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow at home, Trey Hendrickson back on defense, and an offense that lights up the scoreboard. It's just not the place you want to be if you're trying to stay hot. As good as Detroit is, stealing a win there seems unlikely. The prediction? A close fight, but another loss. And then, here's where things get spicy. The Lions head into Kansas City. Everyone knows what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs bring to the table, but something feels different this time. Kansas City may not be the powerhouse they've been, and the Lions are not intimidated. They've beaten the Chiefs before, and the confidence is there to do it again. Imagine Jared Goff moving to 3-0 against Mahomes. Picture the headlines. That's the kind of game that makes the league stand up and say, Detroit is for real. Revenge is a powerful motivator, and when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers visit Ford Field the following week, that's exactly the vibe. The Lions lost to Tampa early last season, but they're not the type to forget. Expect Detroit to treat this one as personal, fueled by that memory, and take care of business. After the bye week, Minnesota looms. The Vikings aren't the same force they've been, with questions swirling about Sam Darnold and JJ's status. Even so, divisional games are always tricky, but the Lions are simply the better roster right now, and the prediction has them walking into Minnesota and leaving with a win. That sets up a massive redemption game against the Washington Commanders. Let's not forget, they ended Detroit's playoff hopes last year. The humiliation of that playoff loss is still fresh, and this time, the Lions' defense is better equipped to handle Jordan Daniels and company. Expect Detroit to come out with an edge, looking for blood, and walk away with the kind of victory that feels cathartic. But then, the gauntlet, Philadelphia, the Super Bowl champs, the real measuring stick. And as much as Detroit has improved, Philadelphia's combination of defensive line talent and relentless pass rush makes this a brutally tough matchup. On the road, in that hostile environment, the call is for a loss. Painful, yes, but also a valuable benchmark game. Right after that, the New York Giants visit. They've added weapons, they're better, but still not Detroit's equal. Across offense, defense, and special teams, the Lions hold the advantage. This one should feel comfortable. Thanksgiving, though, that's where the sting comes in. Facing Green Bay again, the expectation is that the Packers, angry after their Week 1 defeat, sneak out a win in Detroit. It's the kind of cruel twist fans know all too well, a bitter holiday loss. But redemption follows quickly. Dallas comes into town, and there's no love lost there. The Lions crushed them last season, and the prediction is for another blowout. The Cowboys are heading toward a rebuild, while Detroit continues to rise. This one could be ugly, in the best way possible. The journey doesn't stop there, but we'll get into the rest in the next part of this breakdown. For now, what do you think, Lions fans? Do these early predictions match up with what you see happening? Are the Chiefs, Packers, and Ravens the biggest hurdles, or do you see surprises hidden elsewhere in the schedule? Drop your thoughts below, because this season, every game feels like a story waiting to be written. The gauntlet doesn't end with Dallas, because the Lions then take a trip to Los Angeles. Here's where things get interesting. Matthew Stafford. You know the story. He'll always be linked to Detroit. But the question isn't about his legacy, it's about his durability. With the injuries that have piled up over the years, it's hard to imagine him being at 100% by this stage of the season. And without Stafford at his peak, the Rams just don't have enough to go toe-to-toe with this Lions team. Detroit takes that one, building even more momentum down the stretch. Then, a marquee matchup at Ford Field, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Except this isn't the Pittsburgh team most fans are used to. Aaron Rodgers is back at the helm. But the truth is, he's not the same Rodgers. He's not as mobile. The game comes at him quicker now, and the Lions' pass rush has the kind of bite that can make life miserable for him. Expect Detroit to bring the heat, keep Rodgers off balance, and secure another big win. Imagine the narrative, beating Rodgers in front of a roaring home crowd. That's the stuff fans dream about. But as always in the NFL, nothing stays easy. The Lions travel again to face Minnesota, and this time, the prediction flips. Splits in divisional series are common, and the Vikings are good enough to make that happen. With J.J. McCarthy expected to be more polished by this point in the season, plus the Vikings' talent on both sides of the ball, the call here is a Lions loss. It's the reminder that no matter how strong the season is, the NFC North is never a walk in the park. And that sets up the finale, one more showdown with the Chicago Bears. By now, the Bears should be more cohesive under Ben Johnson's system, but the Lions are still the superior team. Sweeping Chicago would be the perfect way to close out the season, and that's exactly what the prediction is happening. Whether it's Jared Goff leading the charge or a mix of starters and backups if the division is already clinched, Detroit is projected to end the year with another victory. All told, that leaves the Lions at 12-5. Think about that for a second, 12 wins. That's not just playoff contention. That's the kind of record that can secure the NFC North and put Detroit in position to host a playoff game. It's the type of season that keeps the energy alive from start to finish, with enough signature wins to make the league take notice, and just enough setbacks to keep things grounded and remind this team there's always another mountain to climb. But here's the real kicker. How does that feel to you? 12 wins sounds incredible. But do you believe this roster is ready to handle the grind? Are the Chiefs and Eagles really vulnerable enough for Detroit to take them down? Do you buy into the idea of Goff staying undefeated against Mahomes, or Stafford falling short against his former team? Or do you see hidden dangers, maybe Green Bay sweeping, or Minnesota proving trickier than expected? This isn't just a prediction, it's a conversation. So, Lions fans, it's your turn. Drop your win-loss records, your gut feelings, and your bold takes in the comments. Because if there's one thing this season promises, it's drama from start to finish, and the journey to find out how far this team can go is just beginning. Now let's zoom out and think about what a 12-5 finish really means for this Detroit Lions team. It's not just about the record, it's about the way those 12 wins are built, the statement games sprinkled across the schedule, and the ripple effect they create across the league. Imagine starting the year by knocking off the Packers in Lambeau, silencing all that hype around Micah Parsons. That's not just a win, it's a shift in narrative. Then, following it up with a clean sweep of Chicago, redemption against Tampa, and a headline-stealing victory over Kansas City, it paints the picture of a team no longer chasing respect, but demanding it. The beauty of this projection is in the balance. The losses don't feel like collapses, they feel like teaching moments. Dropping a tough one in Baltimore against Lamar and Derrick Henry? That's the kind of defeat you circle and use as fuel for the next month. Falling to Philadelphia on the road? That's not shameful. That's measuring yourself against the reigning champs and learning exactly what the next step looks like. Even the holiday heartbreak on Thanksgiving against Green Bay, it stings, but it sets up the perfect revenge arc for the postseason. And think about the character this schedule will build. Beating Mahomes again in Kansas City? That sends shockwaves across the NFL. Crushing the Cowboys while they spiral into a rebuild? That reminds everyone that Detroit is not just competitive, they're ruthless. Outlasting the Steelers and making Aaron Rodgers look mortal under a relentless pass rush? That's the kind of win that cements Ford Field as one of the toughest places to play in football. Every one of these victories adds another layer of confidence, another reason for opponents to circle Detroit on their calendars. By the time we reach December, this team would not just be fighting for wins, but for playoff positioning. The idea of Dan Campbell resting starters in Week 18 against the Bears is more than just a hypothetical. It's a sign of how far this franchise has come. A few years ago, the thought of holding back your roster because you already locked up the NFC North would have sounded insane. Now, it feels possible, even likely, and it shows that the Lions aren't chasing moral victories anymore. They're chasing rings. And that's why this projection is so compelling. It's not pie-in-the-sky fantasy. It's rooted in the way this roster is built. A defense that can travel anywhere, an offense that can punch back in shootouts, and a mentality that feeds off revenge and redemption. The schedule isn't easy. No one's is. But the path to 12 wins